Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back for a brand new video. I decided yesterday I was going to do a prom makeup look, so I filmed it for TikTok, really enjoyed filming it, and I was like, do you know what, I'm going to take it over to YouTube. I know that prom is coming up pretty soon, especially in the UK. I think it might even start in June or July. And I was like, do you know what, why not get in there early? For you guys as well, like start watching tutorials early and then you can definitely see which makeup look you do want to go for. This is how the glam has turned out. It's very monochromatic, so we've got a pink shimmer on the eyes, a pink cheek, and then also a pink glossy lip to match. Let's get into it. I don't know what else to say. I feel like I always ramble too much in my intros. I'm going to start with the eyes first. The best palette that I found for this is from Fine. It's the Art Beauty palette in the shade Light. They've got like light, medium and dark, I believe. And then on a big fluffy brush, I'm going to pick up shades F27 and F20, which are just these two that are across from each other. And I'm going to work these into the crease. By the way, I probably should have said this already, but I have put concealer on my lids and set them in place. I'm kind of keeping this more towards the outer portion of my eye and then slowly blending it up into the brow, like just towards the front of the brow. I'm just going to keep deepening it up by going back into those shadows. It's really easy to do as well. You've got like 3 or 4 steps and then it's done. I'm also kind of blowing it out a little bit as well, so I'm going pretty high up towards the brow bone, and then on this outer corner here, I'll just blend whatever excess shadows left. You can kind of see that it sits more on the outer portion of my eye, so it just helps lift the eye a little bit more, makes it look more away. I'm going to take another brush. This is the Morphe M433, so it's kind of flat but fluffy at the same time. And I'm going to dip into F26 and F19. I switch it up all the time whenever I use this palette, so it's these 2 shades here. And I'm going to use that to just stamp it on the outer corner and then blend it up into that shadow that's in the crease. I actually feel like you don't even need to be precise when you're doing this makeup look. You can literally just shove it on, and then once you wet your mascara on, it all just comes together. Step number 3, we're going to take our finger and I'm going to go into F106. This is like a pinky, peachy sort of shade. It's this one right here. And I'm going to stamp this on the eye. If you want a bit more of like a shimmer payoff, you can swipe it instead. I'll do that and I'll show you how it looks. You just get way more pigment that way by actually swiping it. This is like the perfect rose gold shimmer shade. I think rose gold looks perfect on every eye colour. I'm going to pop on a little bit of mascara. This is the Lancome Idol Flutter Extension Mascara. The L'Oreal Panorama, in my opinion, is absolutely incredible. Just in case anyone is on the hunt for a good drugstore mascara. I'm going to leave the eyes alone and I'm going to move on to skin now. And for primer, I'm going to use this little baby of the One Size Secure the Blur primer. I've never used this before, but the foundation, this doesn't have a cover on it. Does that mean it's being used? Hopefully not. The foundation that I'm going to use is kind of more dewy, so because I've got oily skin, I want to keep my oils at bay for as long as possible. So hopefully I like it. A lot of people that have oily skin do seem to rave about it, and obviously when you go into prom, you really want your makeup to stay on and last all day long. So I would highly recommend in priming and also using setting spray. If anyone's looking for a good affordable primer, the e.l.f. Power Grip is incredible. In fact, if anybody wants a drugstore version of a prom makeup look, then just let me know and I'll do that as well, because I feel like I am going to use quite a few high-end products. The tutorial today is mainly for a prom look. It's not necessarily like me saying you need to go out and buy these products. I'm also going to use a little bit of that underneath my eyes, and then it'll just help with the longevity of the concealer as well. Foundation, I'm going to use the Makeup Forever HD Skin Hydra Glow Foundation. This is in the shade 1Y08. Do not come for me for the shade match, please, because I know it's off. I swatched this in store and I was like, yeah, do you know what? This is going to be a perfect match. Tried it at home and I was like, girl, you couldn't have been any more far off. I'm going to take a brush and just essentially paint this on my face. I really want an even layer, and then afterwards I'll go in with a sponge. I know this seems like a lot of foundation, but I promise it's not. It is just going to be one even layer. I find that a sponge just helps keep everything looking more skin-like. And I don't think it takes away too much of the coverage either. I'm going to go in with a cream contour and then go over the top with a powder bronzer. Wholeheartedly think that we should bring back contouring. This is the Anastasia Smooth Blur Contour in the shade Shadow. It's actually pretty neutral, I want to say. I don't feel like it's too grey toned. And you want to put this in all of the areas that you want to create shadow. So for me, I like to shorten my forehead a little bit, slightly contour the nose, and then also sharpen my cheekbones. And then I like to just stipple that in with a brush. Always make sure that you're blending upwards as well. You don't want to go any further than down here because it's going to look muddy. The way that you can prevent from dragging your contour or your bronzer too far down is you can just keep stamping in the same place that you originally applied the shadow stick. I am going to go in with blush next instead of concealer. This is the technique that, I don't always do it, but this is the technique that I like to do a lot of the times. This is the Rhode blush in the shade Juice Box, so it's very bright and very pink, but that's what I love in a blush. And I'm going to stamp this directly on top of my cheekbones. I like to keep it pretty high up. It's also gonna really help. Do you know how we put the shadow on the outer corner of our eyes just to help like lift and elongate them? This is gonna help with that look. I always find if I pop the blush on the apples of my cheek, my face appears a little bit more round, whereas doing it like this helps lift. I like to go back in with that same brush that I use for my contour. Oh, blend those two together, sort of mesh the two products together. When it's your prom day, girls, I would honestly say spend as long as you possibly can on your makeup, because then you're not going to have to worry about rushing, like, because obviously you'll be in a time limit as well, and blending is key. That's why I'm saying make sure you can like spend as long as possible on it. You really want to make sure you're pushing everything into the skin. It helps make it look a bit more skin-like that way, in my opinion. I'm going to go in with concealer next. This is the Hourglass Vanish Concealer in the shade Sepia. And that's going to go directly on the inner corners of my eyes. This is, I want to say, closer to my foundation shade than it is a highlight shade. And then for a little bit of extra coverage, I'm actually going to pop that just along the jaw as well. I'm just going to use a brush to slightly push everything into place, and I'm going to go back in with that sponge that we used earlier for our foundation. These are the places that I like to put the concealer, and if I'm highlighting, I'll put them in the same areas as well, but I don't really want like a super bright under eye today. I feel like you guys already know how to do makeup, and I'm just sat here like, do this, this and this, but you already know how. I would definitely recommend with going in with a smaller sponge than what I am, but all of mine are dirty. So I'm having to use this giant sponge and like squeeze it underneath my eyes, but because it's a Chloe Mana sponge, to be honest, they're already like really squishy anyway. Now it's time to set the face. Setting the face is really going to help lock everything into place. It's going to make sure that your concealer doesn't crease underneath your eyes, around your mouth, because it just happens with creases. Like, anybody that tells you their under eyes don't crease is lying. I'm going to use the Huda Beauty Pound Cake Powder. Dip in a powder puff, and then I always like to dab off the excess on the back of my hand, and then just go directly underneath the eyes. This kind of helps brighten underneath the eyes as well, but I am going to go in with the second powder in a minute and show you how that looks. You can just see like it instantly mattifies as well, and it almost blurs the skin. Obviously you're going to be taking loads of pictures on your prom day as well, so you want to make sure that there is no flashback. This is probably one of the only powders that I've used as well where it doesn't cause flashback in flash photography. Once I've gone in with that powder and set the majority of my face, I really do want to emphasise the pink blush that we put on. Obviously we are going to put a regular powder blush over the top, but I've got a little hack for you. So this is the Kosas pink powder. You don't have to use this one from Kosas because it is pretty expensive, but if you do want to invest in a good pink powder, I definitely recommend this one. I'm going to tap, oh, maybe not that much. I'm going to put a little bit of that into the lid and essentially do the same thing. So pick it up with the powder puff, tap off the excess, and then just put that right on the high points of my cheeks where that blush was. And you'll see when I put the powder blush on afterwards, it's really going to make it pop. And then you can also blend that into the under eyes a little bit. This doesn't give you like that full-on pink under eye, because I know quite a few people aren't a fan of that. We're not done with the powder, girls. Sorry, but we're not done. If you've got oily skin like me, you need this amount of powder. Especially if you want your makeup to last all day as well. This is from Sephora, and it's the matte powder foundation. So it's powder foundation basically. It's going to give you more coverage if you use like more of a dense brush. I'm going to use something just a little bit more fluffy like this. It's from P. Louise, and I'm just going to stamp it where I didn't put the Huda powder, so just down here and along the cheeks. It helps if you've got any acne scarring as well, like I do. It kind of helps just cover that up a little bit more. And then if you do want a little bit more coverage on the forehead, you can just pop that on there as well. I can promise you as well, if I come up close, it doesn't look heavy, the skin. We are going to set it in place as well with some setting spray. But I can promise if you use a light hand with the powders, it's not going to look heavy or chalky. Time for my favourite part, which is bronzer. I feel like I need to bring a little bit more life back into my skin. This is the Kiko Silky Glow Baked Bronzer in the shade 01. This looks identical to Hourglass. I've actually got the Hourglass one. I think I've used it once, and I've used this one so much more, and it's a lot more affordable. I'm going to stamp that just right at the back of my cheeks. I'm not going to bring it too far in, because obviously I did sculpt earlier with that shadow stick. Just adds like the perfect amount of bronze on the cheeks, and then I take it around my temples and then up towards my forehead. A little bit on the sides of my nose. I try not to go too heavy-handed with this. And then just along the jaw as well. Because this formula is baked, it kind of adds a little bit of a glow to the skin. So I know we're adding loads and loads of powders, but this is glowy. So again, it doesn't look heavy or chalky. If you think you've gone a little bit too overboard with the bronzer on your nose, like I have, I always do that, I don't know how, but I just take my powder puff and then slightly diffuse the edges. Powder blush. So if you'll have seen the Road blush that I used earlier, I don't know where I put it actually. Oh, here. It's very hot pink, and I'm gonna go with a blush that's gonna match that perfectly. This is from Rhiain Beauty, and it's in the shade Strawberry Nebula. It's honestly gorgeous, but you need such a light hand with this. It can't necessarily go wrong if you use a light hand. I know it looks very scary in the pan. I'm actually gonna take this brush from Morphe today. This is the M530. It's very fluffy, so it kind of does all of the work for you. I'm gonna load up my brush with this, and I'm gonna keep tapping the excess off. This makes sure that you've got an even coating all over your brush. Tap the excess off, and then again, directly where we put the cream blush and that powder, I'm just gonna stamp it into place. And you can see it creates just a gorgeous, like, flush of colour, and it pairs with the shimmer on the eyes perfectly. And then you can slightly bring it down to the apples of the cheeks, but mainly focus it on top. I'm hoping my camera's actually picking up how bright this blush is. Like, it's not crazy bright, don't get me wrong, but I'm hoping it's not desaturating the quality. Is that even a thing? I don't know. I know what I'm saying in my head, but do you know when you just don't know how to get your words out? If you want to finish off the eyes, you can absolutely just put the same shadow that's in your crease on your lower lash line and then top it off with a little bit of mascara. I personally don't like bottom lash mascara on me, so I'm just gonna leave the eyes as they are, and I'm gonna move straight onto setting spray instead. So this is the L'Oreal Infallible 3-second setting mist. I know loads of you have probably seen this all over your TikTok. I tried this recently and it's literal glue for your face. Your makeup's not gonna budge all day long, so I'm gonna be pretty generous with this. And the good thing about this is because it is literal hairspray for your face, you don't need to wait for it to dry. You can literally just move on to the next step of your makeup. For lips, I'm going to go in with the H&B Cosmetics lip liner in the shade 04. I'm going to ever so slightly rounding out my cupid's bow. This just gives it a bit more of like a pouty effect. And then a lip gloss. You can literally just chuck these in your makeup bag as well. I'm going to use this from Rimmel. This is a Thrill Seeker Glassy Gloss in the shade 150 Pink Candy. I wore this yesterday. It's such a gorgeous lip combo. Obviously it's pink, so it goes with the cheeks and the eyes. It's a very monochromatic makeup look. These glosses are so comfortable to wear as well. They last pretty long, but they're also not sticky. They almost feel like an oil. And this is the finished prom look. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching. Again, please let me know if you would rather like a drugstore version, because trust me, you don't have to go out and spend all of your money on high-end makeup products. You can literally achieve this look with drugstore products as well, so let me know down below. But as always, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to smash the video a big thumbs up, like, comment your favourite thing about this makeup look, and I'll see you all in a brand new video. Bye!